Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you today is the results of a poll I put for my YouTube members to see what I should review next. And what won? I'm sorry, what? Oh. And what one was the R5iest D4iest pack that we've gotten so far? What we have here is the Target exclusive multi-pack. Hasbro announced this just a little bit after announcing the original release of R5D4 on the new Astromech body. So it was nice to know it was coming out. It didn't stop me from buying the original also, but it was nice to know that I was wasting money before I wasted it. But did I? Let's take a look. So here we have the multi-pack in box, and as you can see, it is an older style box. It was announced before the changeover to the newer style box. Do I wish it had a newer style box? Sure, but does it matter? Nah, not really. As you can see, we have the R5D4. We have two pit droids that we will, of course, compare all of these to their original releases, as well as a BD unit. One of the nice things about this set is it officially confirms that the BD unit that we saw in the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett was not in fact BD1, like we were all kind of afraid it would be, which would imply that at some point BD1 is not with Cal Kestis anymore, which would imply that something happened to Cal Kestis. I mean, it still could have, but we don't have any real thoughts to think that, which is what I like. But this is BD72. On the side here, we have the R5D4, we have the BD72, and then one of the pit droids here. On the back, it says Pelimoto makes quick work of refueling and repairing battered ships with the help of R5D4, BD72, and a team of hyperactive pit droids. So that's enough of the box. Let's go ahead and get it out. There we go. So here we have the figures out of the box. The 4 figures, the 3.5 figures, however you want to count it, that's how I count it too. Like I said, we've actually seen all of these in the line before. I've actually reviewed all of these on my channel at some point. Last year when the R5D4 came out, and I've also taken a look at the R2D2, as well as the R4... 6PO. Let's get these out of the way. Let's start with R5. Why not? R5 here with R5 here. Now, ideally, these should be the exact same droid. They are from the exact same show. They're both from The Mandalorian, although obviously R5 has been in other movies and shows before. He was originally in A New Hope, where his motivator blew, making Uncle Owen and Luke choose R2 instead of R5. Now, it was a fun side story where he did that on purpose because he knew R2 needed to go with him. So he kind of is like a rebel droid and he sacrificed himself. But what I was interested in here was, what are the differences? I know there are going to be some. Packs usually afford a higher price point. Now, this is $45 for all this. So keep in mind, it's also a Target exclusive. But oftentimes on multi-packs like that, since they have a higher price point, they can fiddle around with the budget more, and usually you get better paint, usually. So as we take a look at it, I have to notice that the new one has a lighter shade here on his little eye things, as well as on his antenna. It's a little darker here, and I do like the darker better. As in terms of just other paint apps, it all looks very, very similar to me, and obviously my eyes and my color blindness can sometimes prevent me seeing a lot of that stuff inaccurately, or accurately, I should say. But the paint apps to me look largely identical. I do have some scrapes here, but that's actually from me trying to pry this open with a knife, and I scraped the paint. So that's not how that came. That was me being too rough with it. And then, of course, there's no paint. There's no scrape on that because I haven't even tried on this one. It does have the feature here. If I do it on this one, we actually have his little accessories in there still. because that's where I store them, because that's where they're supposed to be stored. Before we get into that, articulation is pretty much the same as any astromech droid. We have each of these legs can loop around. This has a little bend here for articulation. We have the little drop down. I just cut my nails. It was a bad idea. I do wish there was an easier way to get this out. There we go. All right, and that comes out and you'll feel it snap into place. And then this also has a bend so that you can position them so everything's flat on the ground. No, they don't have wheels, which does suck. I feel like there should be wheels on the bottom. They're molded there, but they're not painted and they're definitely not actual wheels. But you can do that if you want to. I do like it that it's not on a little gimmick tied to the head turn, which is what it was on this. Now, if you watch my original review of this guy right here, you'll notice that I actually had the wrong R5D4. I had the one in the 3-pack. It wasn't even an R5D4. It was an R5. I think it was Porkins astromech droid. So I had the wrong astromech droid here, but I did want to bring it out again so you could see the difference in size between the original mold and the newer ones. The newer ones are larger and they are appropriately sized. This is how large they're supposed to be. This was always too small. Also, these little things bent. This is originally a GameStop exclusive. There's one thing right off the top that I did try off camera. One of these comes off, and that's supposed to be the motivator. And actually, I think I missed it on my original review, but I did like an addendum review where I talked about it. So the top of this one does pop off, and you can put his little motivator in there that pops up. The problem is that, whew, this is small. This little piece is small, easy to lose, but just so you know, it can come off. Now, this one on the new one, I'm pretty sure is glued down. I've gotten this in here and tried my best to like squeeze it out, and it shouldn't be that hard. So I don't want to try too hard, but I'm pretty sure Hasbro glued that down. Also, the painting is off on that, and that kind of sucks. The painting is just a little bit off on up there. You can't put the motivator on top of this one like you can on this one, and it kind of sucks. Like you shouldn't have to worry about, you know, gluing things down. Nothing should be glued, Hasbro. And that comes to the next piece here, and let's get into his accessories real quick. On this one, the sides are glued, and the sides have been glued on R5 or R2D2. The sides are glued on the R4 we got. So I just assumed that the sides were glued for all these. However, this one came with some little rocket upgrades, little rocket packs that go on the side. The original R2D2 and the original R2D2 mold had these as well. And I remember when it was such a big deal that R2 was going to have rockets that could fly. He was supposed to have them in the Phantom Menace, but that scene was cut. And then he had it in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith. So they put it in there eventually, but it was originally supposed to be in all the movies. And I remember it being such a big deal. I was excited to see it, and then it never happened. It was in the book too. These come off just like the original ones do, just like the original mold. And then this can go on the side, because there is a scene in The Mandalorian Season 3. There's this scene where he fights off mouse droids. It's a fun scene in The Mandalorian. I did like that. Again, Season 3 wasn't really anyone's favorite, but it did have some cool scenes in it, and this was one. And then he flew off to his people. So you can do that. The rest is the same. If you haven't seen any of my reviews for the newer mold, I do wish that there was an easier way to get these open. And I just always resort to sliding a knife in there and opening it up. There's 3 holes inside each one of these. This one comes with 5. Every release has come with different little accoutrement to put in there. This guy comes with 5 of them. So we can put them all in. We'll put 3 here. Whoop, like that. They are a little, they're not gummy, but they're a little they're not firm. And if you don't get them in there right, they do kind of bend, which sucks. I noticed that he doesn't have a grabber arm, which is interesting. He does have a couple different ports there, and I think maybe arc welder, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. I know this was like a taser, I think. And then the last one, we do have a little datascope, which is a little data port that all astromech units tend to have. That's how they plug in. So you can do that. And of course, they all will plug into... What was that? Oh, well, that's good to know. The flames are removable, if you were curious. I did know that before. I just forgot to show it off. The flames do plug in and they come out. So if you don't want the flame flaming, then you can just take it out and he'll still have the rockets there. But each of these can plug right in to these little ports. You'll feel them kind of not clip. I guess it's kind of clipping in because there's a little round receptacle in there, and if you press it in, you'll feel it kind of snap into the groove. And the groove, as we know, is in the heart. There we go. He's even got there's 6 available in there. There's 1 slot that's not taken up, and that's fine. And then just closes back. They close up, and then of course you can. There's unfortunately, these do not stay in well. I noticed that. So unfortunately, while there is storage for all the other little bits and bobs and doodads and stuff, there is no storage for these or this. So it's one or the other. I'm probably not going to have this. Actually, I might. Just because I do have 2 on my shelf. Because I did buy 2. Maybe I'll put this on a flight stand and it's going to hang out like this. And then these will be... the accessories that go find in a bin, because that is more fun, because I'll have these both on the shelf. So let's get these off to the side. Let's take a look at our little pit droids here. Now, there has been a notable absence of pit droids in the line for a long time. The first one we got, though, was actually back in, I think, 2021, 2022, maybe sometime around there. And it was an exclusive to the Disney shop, either the parks or the Shop Disney website. I got mine off the Shop Disney website. There was the second Droid Depot pack. The first one had, I think, was it C-3PO, R2, BB-8, and Rex, the pilot droid Rex. Whereas this one had, I think, a KX security droid. It had... 1 pit droid, and oh man, I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember off the top of my head what else it had, but you know, it was one of those things where you just got a bunch of droids, and the draw for it was the pit droid, and that was actually this pit droid right here. So if you have that, then we have 3 pit droids, which I feel brings us to the optimum number of pit droids. 'Cause I feel like having a trifecta of pit droids makes us have sort of like a Three Stooges kind of dealio. I do like that they are all painted different colors. They've got different stripes on them, so you could tell them apart. They are all unique, even though they are all the same mold. The paint and the coloring is different. So yeah, I do wish that they came with a folded up version that's folded up, not something, because I just don't think that you could really engineer this to be folded up, because everything kind of tucked up in that dome, and it just doesn't physically work. There's no way that would physically work. There's the magic just isn't there. You just can't do it. So it would have to be kind of pre-molded. So I wish that we had something like that also, just to have a different display option. And if they ever do, I'm in. But I do love these little droids. They do feel like little mini kind of battle droids. I want to say this one right here, as you can see, this is one of the new ones. It does have a little bit of a messed up leg. It is fixable. You can just heat it up. It's not a big deal. The articulation on these is actually a lot of fun. So just there's a big ball joint. Actually, it's not even a ball joint. No, it is. I'm sorry, it is a ball joint. But it goes up in there. It's just kind of on a weird forward angle. I don't know if you can see it. It makes it so it can bend down really easily, but it does kind of make it really weird to move the head around, because it's on a weird angled joint up there that is not articulated down there. So don't bend that around too much. His whole head can come down like so, like that. His arm moves up and down right here, as well as swivels back and forth. He does have a double jointed arm right there, as well as a little swivel on his little claw wrist there. The cool part is this little hinge on the middle. It's like a really nice ab crunch, as well as a swivel. He's got a decent range of movement on the thigh, as well as a swivel on the thigh. He has a single joint at the knee, as well as a little hinge, and then a little rocker, with that being about his widest stance, with both his little feet mostly flat on the ground. I just thought it was a cool pose. And as I just found out, the little antenna does come off. I guess I've never had the antenna on my old one pop off, but it does come off. And honestly, if this wasn't the reason enough to buy all these packs, I don't know what is. These are fun little droids to just mess around with. They pose super, super easily. They look really, really good, and they surprisingly stand up okay. Like, I haven't had too much of an issue. Like, yeah, they're good. I really like them, and they're most of the reason why I bought this. Although our R5D4 is also great, but you know, you could buy him by himself. But these are the reason you really buy the pack, on top of the fact that this one also has little rockets on him, so that's also nice. And then last but not least, we do have BD, was it BD72? Again, not really a reason to buy it, but I'm glad that we got this in here. This is BD1. As you can see, he has paint differences, and that's pretty much it. On the top, he doesn't have the silver that goes around all the way around. He's got some blue on his ear. He's got some blue on his leg. He's missing the red stripe. He's also blue on the front where this one's red. He also doesn't have, he has like black on here instead of silver. So he is different. It's also not painted on the back of the head, which kind of sucks because that really should be painted in some way. But again, not a big deal. But it's nice to have our second official named BD droid. We have had others, especially in the holiday line. There have been others. I mean, I don't count those because they're not, I mean, I want to say they're not canon, but they're not canon. No one really counts the all white one or the candy cane one as something you see in the movies or anything, but this is another canon BD droid, and I like that. So that's my overview for this pack. As a review, I mean, for $45, obviously R5D4 went by himself for $25, and this one comes with more accessories. So that's way worth it by itself for $25. That just leaves $20 for two pit droids and a BD. And honestly, I think that's worth $20. Two little pit droids and a BD droid. Like, if they sold a pack that was two pit droids and a BD droid for 20 bucks, I'd buy it. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't scoff at that. I think it's worth it. It's a Target exclusive. I've seen it in stores. I got this less than $25. I got this on sale. It went on sale, I think, on May 4th, because it went up for pre-order, I think, back in April. And then on May 4th, it went on sale. So I canceled that and re-pre-ordered it, got the sale price. I think it was like 20, 30% off, something like that. So for what I paid for it, hands down, this was worth it. But I think even at full price, this is worth it, especially if you never got the original R5. Even if you already have the other pit droid, even if you already have the other BD droid, I think even if you have the other R5, like, it's still worth a pickup. I'm going to give this, I hate to say that it's not worth a straight 5 out of 5. I really enjoy this set. I think you'll get out of it what you want to get out of it. I think the price is right. The only thing I don't like, they glued the top of this R5's head. That's dumb. I'm going to give the set as a whole like a 4.75, just because I feel weird. Just, it is exclusive to Target. You know, like, there's a couple different reasons I can nitpick. I just don't feel right giving it a full 5 out of 5, but I do really like it. I do really recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. As you can see here, I had fun just opening it up. I'm gonna have some fun taking some pictures and stuff. So anyways, that's it. Let me know down the downstairs area. Did you get this? Do you care about it? Is it your jam? Is it not? I feel like even if you don't like The Mandalorian, you can still get this because these characters were in movies. Pit droids were in the prequels. R5D4 was in the OT. So while it's labeled Mandalorian, like, you're not beholden to the box. You can put it wherever you want. You know, and it's not a big deal. So let me know what you think. I also want to thank these people here on screen for supporting my channel as YouTube channel members. It means a lot to me that all of these people put money down to support me and the channel and making these videos. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Oh yeah, like, share, and subscribe. That goes a long way. Bye.